Hey guys, it's Tim and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 18th of December 2019 to talk about everything that went down tonight on NXT. So I made the executive decision to go, hey, let's review NXT tonight instead of AEW because NXT is looking like it's going to be the better show. And I wholeheartedly enjoyed tonight's NXT. I thought the show was great. I only saw a couple of things that took place on AEW. Like, I'm not going to go too in depth, but the finish of that show. And the end of AEW Dynamite was, I don't know what to say about that. But I digress. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me know in the live chat if we're live, because it's not showing me that we're live. So let me know in the live chat if we're live, and we'll continue with this. Never mind, we're good. All right, I digress. I apologize. We're all good now. So, as far as the show goes tonight, we'll talk about that. I thought NXT, like I said, was a really good show. Well, let's see who's here with us in the live chat first. Ooh. Punch my microphone. I always do that. I think maybe I got the mic too close or something. So, while we see who's here in the live chat, I got to address the Nick situation. You guys have asked about it. Where's Nick? What's going on? So, I want to say Monday morning, Nick sent me a message. He ain't got a computer. He was on it Sunday night. He was like overnight or whatever, playing games and whatnot. Went to bed at like 2 a.m. Woke up the next morning. Just won't turn on. Still won't turn on. So unfortunately, Nick's not able to join us till he does get a working computer or his computer fixed. And until then, I don't want to do episode 100 of the PWUnlimited podcast without him. Because if it wasn't for Nick, that podcast probably wouldn't have happened live almost every Wednesday and then moved to every Tuesday. So I want to do episode 100 with him. So for the time being, that show is on hiatus. Maybe I'll think of something else that I could put in its place or as a make good some other time of the week. We'll figure something out. But as of right now, the PWUnlimited podcast on Tuesday nights is on hiatus until we figure out what's going on with Nick and his computer situation. So that's the situation there. Nick's computer just died. He was on it and then he woke up and it was meh. So anyways, let's see who's here with us in the live chat. We do got Jack Dawson, George John Cox, Aiden Wolf, Nelson, Sinclair Saturday. Ooh, that's not correct. Who else is here with us? Wrestling Gab. We've got Jeff Guevara, Donovan Elliott, Derek Bocek. So, let's talk about this NXT from tonight. We're not going to be taking calls, but I will be taking your text messages. If you do want to text in, you can do so at 510-906-1341. Again, the number to send in your text messages is 510-906-1341. The number is in the live chat and will be popping up periodically on your screen in case you guys forget it. Excuse me. So tonight's NXT kicked off with the NXT Championship. It was Adam Cole defending against Finn Balor. And now, I haven't noticed this before. I don't know if this was the same thing. I assume it was last week, but I skipped because I watched NXT, after the fact. It wasn't live. So I fast forwarded through the intros of the wrestlers for their matches. Has the LED boards going around to Full Sail where it's got graphics on it, has it been saying Prince Balor for a while now? Did it say it last week? Because like I said, I fast forward to skip through the intros, didn't see the intros for that triple threat last week, but I loved that it said Prince Balor. I thought that was awesome. Maybe that's just maybe that's all we should just call him anymore. He was Prince Devitt in New Japan, Fergal. Now he's Prince Balor It was weird, though, because on the graphic, the C in Prince was crossed out. There was an X over the C. So it was like Prime Balor. But I digress. Balor, Adam Cole, just a phenomenal, and I mean phenomenal, match tonight with the NXT Championship on the line. So some of you guys are saying that you haven't seen that before. So it's probably new for tonight. Cool. I liked it. Because I'm just one last thing about it. I thought it was cool because with Balor's graphics, everything's turned off. There are no graphics except for that around the deal. And when he stood up on the turnbuckle and did his pose during his entrance, one side of him it said Prince Balor, and then coming out the other side it said Prince Balor, and it just looked awesome. So basically, soon as they grappled beginning of this match, we got dueling chants. Undisputed Finn Balor. Undisputed Finn Balor. Loved it. This crowd, all for this match. Cole was the first to use an underhanded tactic to gain control, but Balor soon had a counter. Balor got a 2 count from a basement drop kick. Balor stomped on Cole, but then hit him with a wrecking ball drop kick. As Balor was seemingly measuring for a PK, Cole struck with a super kick that took him out. That turned the momentum into Cole's favor. Cole would go on to work over and ground Balor. Dashing a hope spot, Cole targeted a leg to gain control. Balor made a comeback and got a near fall off of it. Balor was going to work when Cole cut him off yet again with the backstabber this time. Balor answered back some momentum later with a sling blade. Cole then shot back with a super kick that led to a 2.5. Very close. Great near fall. They then traded kicks when Balor struck with a Pele kick. Both men fell down. Actually, this is actually a really cool spot. So Cole whips Balor off the ropes. Balor comes at him. Cole hits him with a big boot, and it spins Balor around. So Balor spins himself around, and without even missing a beat, as he's spun around, 89 degrees, 90 degrees, as soon as he's around 90 degrees, coming back around, 180, PK, or no, Pele kick. And it was just so smooth. Boom, Pele kick. But it was funny, because Morrow kept calling it a Pele kick. A Pele kick. You would think Morrow would know. Morrow knows everything. No. He kept calling the Pele kick a Pele kick. So, Cole hits his big boot. Balor hits his Pele kick. Both men fall to the mat, but Cole falls on top of Finn Balor. Referee goes to count 1, 2, Balor kicks out. Great spot. Then each man started trying and countering the other's big moves. Cole then caught Balor with an Ushigoroshi. Balor fought back with a double stomp and a shotgun drop kick. Balor was slow to capitalize as he sold his knee, which came into factor later. Cole attempted to Panama Sunrise off the apron to the floor, but Balor countered it into a backdrop, and Cole crashed down on the floor. Balor then mowed him down with a running drop kick that sent Cole into the barricade, wiping out the front row. I believe those are plants, because they're not going to do a spot like that where they know the barricade is going to crash and have actual fans sitting there. But, hey, the visual looked cool. Balor then went for a coup de grace in the ring after he threw Cole back in. Cole avoided it. Balor landed on his feet, but sold the knee, like he tweaked it again, coming off the top rope. Cole then delivered a last shot. However, the blow was not the last strike, and Balor kicked out. Balor then landed a lariat and a shotgun drop kick to set up a coup de grace again. Balor looked to follow that up with a 1916, but his attention was diverted by the emergence of Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Gargano is back. So Gargano walks down the ramp, causing the distraction of Finn Balor. A distracted Balor then gets hit with a low blow. Cole follows this up with a last shot and picks up the victory. So, Adam Cole retains the NXT Championship. So a menacing looking, and I'm going to say it, menacing looking. This man looked pissed. Johnny Gargano grabs a chair and brings it into the ring and attacks Finn Balor with the chair. Gargano lays him out with the chair as the crowd is chanting Johnny Wrestling. He looked to gain a measure of revenge on Balor here. I thought it was cool. Johnny Gargano is back. Hopefully, he's fully cleared to return, because you could be partially cleared and just do what he did tonight. So hopefully, this isn't some sort of like Balor's or Gargano's back, but when is he actually going to be able to wrestle? So I'll look into it. I'll see what we can find out, but it's cool to see Johnny Wrestling back. So next up, we got the match we were supposed to get 2 weeks ago? Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Damian Priest versus Killian Dane. Story of this match was Priest was still slightly injured, dealing with a rib injury, but he fought through it anyways. Dane targeted the ribs as the punishment. Priest sold big as Dane worked him over for much of the match. They continued through a commercial break. Priest was making a comeback as the show returned from break. Priest fired up and began to clean house. Dane went to powder, but Priest cut him off with a springboard flip dive over the ropes to the floor. Priest followed this up with a south of Haven for a near fall. Dane would soon counter to his own near fall. Priest then got a 2 count off of a victory roll, but he began to sell his ribs. Dane looked to exploit the weakness and set up for a Vader bomb. Priest got his knees up and blocked it. Priest then delivered a Reckoning, which is his crossroads that Cody said is not good looking, and picked up the victory on Killian Dane. So Damian Priest wins again. Damian Priest, I think, is somebody that they really, really like. I mean, they wouldn't have had him on the Survivor Series team if they didn't. George John Cox says, is NXT on TV next week? There is an episode. 2 matches were announced. I'll tell you those 2 matches now. North American Title Open Challenge, and Lio Rush will be teaming with Keith Lee to take on Damian Priest and Tony Nese. I believe they're filming tonight for next week. A video package then aired for the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. So excited for that. The Dusty Classic is always great. They said that some teams in the tournament will be revealed on the New Year's Day edition of NXT. So not next week, but the following week. We then got Cameron Grimes versus Kushida. This is a fun match. Kushida was out wrestling Grimes early with his quickness and ground wrestling. His mat wrestling, I mean. Grimes escaped his grasp only for Kushida to catch him with a flying armbar. Smooth transition here. Kushida worked the arm before flying into a basement dropkick. Kushida leapt off the top with a Ricky Steamboat head chop, or overhead chop, I mean, and then applied an octopus. Grimes turned the tide during a commercial break. He hit Kushida with a series of strikes that had him reeling, but Kushida recovered just enough to hit a hip toss and throw Grimes out of the ring. They then did a running Spanish fly that netted Grimes a 2 count. They went back and forth for a little while during a commercial break. Grimes had the advantage as the show returned. Grimes worked at the back of Kushida as he applied a beeled, as he also beeled Kushida across the ring. Grimes with a backbreaker continued to target the back. Kushida then did a handspring elbow that led to a comeback. Kushida with a flurry of offense before he applied a cross arm breaker. Grimes then got a rope break. Kushida went back to targeting the arm. They then traded big moves down to the stretch here towards the end of the match. Grimes with some wicked German suplexes. Grimes has a great German suplex, but Kushida fought back. Kushida then landed a dive to the outside. Back in the ring, both men fought while perched on the top rope. Kushida then flipped Grimes off the top for a 2. After another series of exchanges, Grimes struck with a double stomp for the pin. The finish came somewhat out of nowhere to me, to be honest. But incoming out of nowhere also felt good to me, because it was like these guys are just fighting so hard, and then all of a sudden Grimes just hit him with the right move to finally finish him off. It was like these guys kept doing what they could and couldn't finish the other guy off, and then it just he finally got it. He finally did it. Grimes, that is. So I like that. I know some online, I saw a couple people on Twitter, not many, but I saw a couple people on Twitter were like, well, that was anticlimactic. I could see where you can think that because, you're used to a WWE match building towards the finish, not doing a bunch of stuff, and then all of a sudden you're at the finish. You usually do a bunch of stuff. Okay, I see where he's going next. He's going to hit his finisher, and then boom. So, do we even really know what Cameron Grimes' official finishing move is anyways? I don't. I know he was winning a bunch of matches with, double knees in 8 seconds, but other than that, I don't know what Grimes' actual finisher is. Let me know in the live chat or the comments below. We then got a Io Shirai hype video as she's in the next match. Io Shirai took on Santana Garrett. The announcers in the commentary really put over Santana Garrett here, as she also got a little bit of shine in this match. She did some handsprings and a great Muda elbow. She also applied a Muda lock, but Shirai escaped. Shirai then hit her with a running double knee strike to set up a moonsault for the victory. Not a long match, but you really didn't need it to be a long match. It was effective for what it was. Santana Garrett looked good, and Io Shirai picked up a victory. So then they said that the next match was a preview for Worlds Collide. This was supposed to be NXT versus NXT UK. But it was Pete Dunne and Travis Banks. Pete Dunne representing NXT, Travis Banks representing NXT UK. But I liked on commentary where they kept saying, Pete Dunne, former WWE United Kingdom champion, wrestled on the NXT UK brand. Where is his allegiance really lying? Is he solely with NXT, or could he still want to be aligned with NXT UK when it comes to Worlds Collide? So I like that they brought that up because it's something you may have to think about. It's like, I don't know how they're going to build up and what kind of matches they're going to do. I don't know if it's going to be like Adam Cole versus Walter because champion versus champion. I don't know if it's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Kaylee Ray because champion versus champion. I don't know. We don't know if it's just going to be a complete ripoff for Survivor Series where we get like a 5-on-5 women's match and a 5-on-5 men's match and a 10-on-10 tag match. I don't know. Nobody really knows exactly what this Worlds Collide is going to be. If you look at what they've done previously with quote-unquote Worlds Collide events, it really wasn't NXT versus NXT UK. It was like, here's a match, and it's someone from NXT against someone from the Cruiserweight division, or someone from SmackDown against someone from NXT UK. So we'll see how it goes. It's supposed to be the brand supremacy thing for NXT and NXT UK. It should be fine. It's replacing a takeover, which I really wish they would have just done a takeover, but it's all good. So it was Pete Dunne versus Travis Banks. They started the match with grappling, fast-paced exchanges. They traded strikes and such before Dunne used an X-Plex to splat Banks right in the middle of the ring. No, on the apron, my bad. They then went to a commercial, and when they came back, Banks was firing up. Banks hit a cannonball and then a tope through the ropes. Banks then with a missile dropkick and a double stomp got him a 2 count. Banks went for a springboard, and Dunne mowed him down with a forearm strike. Dunne then followed up with another X-Plex for a 2. Banks went for a sunset bomb, and Dunne flipped over to land on his feet. He hit Banks with a running kick and then went for the bitter end. Banks countered with a swinging DDT. Banks went for his finisher, but Dunne cut him off with the counter, and they fought on. Banks then hit a Kiwi Crusher, netting a 2.5. Dunne went to execute an Avalanche X-Plex, and Dunne hit Banks with kicks to set up the bitter end for the victory. Pete Dunne picking up the victory for, I guess you can say, NXT. Kathy Kelly in the back then interviewed Dakota Kai. She asked her thoughts on Mia Yim. Kai admitted that, yeah, Yim put me through a table. Caused me to have 8 staples in the back of my head. But who won that match? She said. She said it was me that picked up the victory. I love this heel Dakota Kai. Really, really just a great mean streak that she's developing. So like I stated, 2 matches were announced for next week's show. NXT North American Champion Roderick Strong will be putting his title on the line in a Open Challenge. And then Damian Priest and Tony Nese will be teaming up to take on Lio Rush and Keith Lee. Very just mixed match of a match right there. Very random. But now, we've got our main event. And before we talk about our main event, this video right here, this video was brought to you by My Medic. My Medic here to keep you safe in every situation. Everybody bleeds. There isn't a single person who doesn't need first aid now and then. There's no better way to keep yourself, your family, your friends, your coworkers, your enemies, your pets, and anybody else prepared than having a first aid kit handy. But not just any first aid kit will do. A jam-packed first aid kit with only the best supplies this earth has to offer. Whether you want a kit for your car, your house, your boat, your trailer, to use for your dog on your in your range bag, at your office, in your pocket, My Medic has got you covered. My Medic has kits for every situation, for everybody, and for every time an unexpected moment happens. Order right now with the link in the description below, and not only will you be supporting us here at PWUnlimited, but you will also get 10% off of your purchase. My Medic has you covered for every situation that life throws at you to keep you safe. My Medic, they've built the safest Christmas tree on this planet. So now we go into our main event. And people may like what I'm about to say. People may not like what I'm about to say. The match started off a little slow. Maybe that was by design. Crowd was into it, and then like a minute or so into it, they were kind of there. But then about quarter of the way, halfway in, they really ramped it up, and the crowd was just nutso after that. So early on, Ripley was able to psych out Baszler. Ripley was looking to dominate when Baszler rolled outside to set a trap. Ripley walked into a trap, and Baszler took advantage. Baszler began to work over Ripley while focusing on her neck. Ripley got a hope spot with a roll-up, but Baszler quickly dashed any hope, but not for long. Baszler kept trying to punish Ripley, and Ripley would fight back. Baszler would nevertheless return to targeting the neck. As the show would return from commercial break, Ripley was able to fire back with a comeback. Baszler bumped and fed tremendously for Rhea Ripley. They did a superplex spot that resulted in Ripley getting a 2 count on Baszler. Then, Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir would run down to ringside, causing a distraction. As they caused this distraction, Rhea Ripley hit a big boot on Jessamyn Duke, knocking her off the apron. Jessamyn Duke fell onto Marina Shafir. Shayna Baszler was then thrown outside of the ring. Rhea went to cannonball off the apron onto all 3 women. Shayna moved out of the way, and Jessamyn and Marina took the brunt of it. As Shayna Baszler had ran off, Rhea Ripley was getting back to her feet, but before she can fully get back to her feet, as she was, helping herself up with the steel steps, Shayna Baszler ran across the apron and just kicked and just smashed the arm of Rhea Ripley down onto the steps. And they teased stopping this match. Which put even more into this, and I loved it. Because it was like, Rhea Ripley's hurt. The way her arm was positioned on the steps, and Shayna kicked right above the elbow, it like cracked her arm right down. So the ref's checking on her, doctor's checking on her. She's fine. Or she says she's good. So we keep on going. They get back into the ring. Baszler was still working over Ripley when the show returned from commercial break. The referee ejected Shafir and Duke from ringside. Ripley was absorbing kicks, and then she hulked up on Baszler. They bumped the ref, and Ripley delivered a Riptide finisher 6, 7, 8. No referee, though. Ripley then crashed and burned, doing an attempted senton to the floor. Meanwhile, Baszler grabbed a chair and slid it into the ring. Baszler with a DDT did a DDT on the chair as Baszler looked to cheat her way to victory. Not so fast, though, as Ripley miraculously kicked out at 2. Baszler then went for a sleeper hold, but Ripley escaped. Ripley then went to apply a leg lock only for Baszler to catch her in a Karafuda clutch. Ripley tried to power her out and struggle free. They teased Ripley passing out, but she hulked back up. Ripley eventually rolled through and escaped the sleeper. She stomped Baszler repeatedly before attempting the prism lock. Baszler escaped to deliver a running knee strike. The finish then came when both women were fighting on the top rope. Shayna Baszler took a great headbutt from Rhea Ripley. Ripley then did an avalanche riptide from the middle rope, pinned Shayna Baszler, and became the brand new NXT Women's Champion. The locker room came out. Some fans from the crowd came into the ring. They held Rhea Ripley up above their heads. And it was like the Sami Zayn moment when Sami Zayn won the NXT title. All the wrestlers came down, hoisted him up in celebration. But this time, unlike Sami Zayn, Rhea Ripley didn't have to get her ass beat after winning the belt. Rhea Ripley also made history tonight. Rhea Ripley can say that she is the first woman to hold the NXT Women's and the NXT Women's Championship. Not just that, though. Rhea Ripley can also say that she is the first woman to hold a championship in NXT and in NXT UK. So not just the women's belt, but any championship. So that's really cool. Congratulations does go out to Rhea Ripley on becoming the new champion, and I really believe that this could lead to Shayna Baszler coming to the main roster, and I think she needs to come to the main roster and win the Royal Rumble. Shayna Baszler wins the Royal Rumble. This is just my fantasy booking. Baszler wins the Rumble. Baszler wins the Royal Rumble, then challenges Becky, and we get Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship WrestleMania. I mean, if you can't get Ronda back, boom, throw Ronda's bestie in there. Well, we don't know if she's Ronda's bestie because they haven't done really anything on television together, but one of Ronda's closest friends. But I thought NXT tonight was really, really good. If I had to rate it, I would probably give it an 8.5, maybe even a 9 almost. Because I thought the NXT title match to open the show, phenomenal. The NXT women's match, not as good as the men's match, but very, very good. And before we do wrap things up, I do got a text message here. Yeah, I don't know where this person heard this, but he said, any news on the match happening between Sting and Taker at WrestleMania? I haven't heard that. Nobody's has said that that's credible, so nothing there for you, bud. But with that, I do want to say thank you guys for joining me here tonight to talk about NXT. I also want to say thank you to everybody who watches later right here on YouTube and everybody who listens on podcast services all around the world like iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, and so much more. We will have an AEW podcast up tomorrow, maybe even sooner than tomorrow. We'll see. But with that, I want to say thank you guys for joining me. Ruby Windenchet says apparently Ronda is coming back. Last I heard, not anytime soon. They do not have any plans for Ronda to come back. So we'll see. Maybe Ronda's fooling everybody, telling people that she's not coming back because she's told people there's no plans. So maybe she's fooling people. It's a swerve. But as of right now, no plans for Ronda anytime soon. We'll see where it goes. But hey, have a good night. We'll see you later.